Hello, this is Michael Munshaw, sketch card artist on Many Things Marvel, and you are listening to Sir Ian Taylor and his version of the Frightful Four on the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly, or maybe monthly, or semi-regular dose of hobby goodness. It is now, as you hear this, it is now 2024. So welcome to the new lineup of the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast going forward. We have, in order of their podcast appearance, and I jotted this down, but I'm also going to add it here just to take the piss, and possibly height. Jason Martinet, who was on episode 55. Welcome, Jason.
Hello.
Wesley Webb, who was on episode 159.
Hello.
Good morning. Josh James Kennedy Smith. I always use your full name still.
Oh yeah, it's better that way. Throw it all in.
Is that okay? I don't want to. I don't want to come across as sounding like your mum.
Nope, no problem. Josh
Okay.
Kennedy's good, but yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of official. It sounds
JJK, because when you do it JJKS, you type it out like that. It kind of looks like jokes.
Yeah.
So I might call you jokes from now on. You're on episode 187, and Keith Speroni. I was going to say Peroni there because I just like making that joke over and over again. Because why not just run it into the ground? Most recent on episode 188. So you were just behind Josh.
Oh, wow, I didn't know we were that close.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're kind of like two parts of the same. Anyway, welcome guys. So the story behind this is that there hasn't been a new episode of this since late October. I don't think this is the longest hiatus the podcast has ever had, because of life and reasons and stuff going on. And it's a good opportunity to reset. And I put a little wanted ad up, kind of in the personals, desperately seeking new podcast co-hosts, must have GSOH, straight acting, non-seen, all those things you put in a little wanted ad. And not one, but two, but three, but four of you all reached out and said, "Can I come on and be a podcast co-host?" And I actually had two others as well. So thank you to those two people who I'm not going to mention by name. But two other people reached out as well. And the reason I'm not going to mention them by name is because I can't actually remember them because I don't know who those people are. So no disrespect to those two people, but if I don't even know who you are, chances of you coming on as a co-host for us to have chemistry is probably a bit. Anyway, so you four guys, and I looked at the lineup and I was like, and none of you heard from me for a few weeks. I'm sure you were probably thinking, oh well, that didn't work out. And then I turned around to you and said, why don't all four of you come on? So this is the new podcast lineup. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why? Just very briefly, this is one of those things. It's like one of those classified ads where you get the red biro and you circle it round. That's how I imagined you were going down your list of things I can do with my Sunday mornings for the next year. It's like, I'll circle that one there. Why did you kind of, just out of interest, why did you want to put your hands up for it? And I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this question, but I'm just curious. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I just enjoyed the time that we spent together talking. I think that sometimes people are nervous to speak up and talk their mind and speak their mind about things. And I got a lot of good feedback from our episode, and it made me feel more comfortable going on again. Because as I told you, I was extremely nervous that first time. And just that feedback I got made me feel pretty confident, and I enjoy talking to you, and thought we could have some fun.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. It's all about having fun. Wesley, you were about to jump in then, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm always about to say something, but I feel like whenever I got into this hobby and had all these emotions run in and everything, and then like whenever I went to the Comic-Con and hung around with the people like this, it's like I feel like I'm with my people, So that, and I have an extreme love for the hobby and learning, and it feels like everybody's got something to say, or like maybe not everybody, but there's stuff out there to learn that I have no idea about. I just really delved into EPAC and within the last like 6 months. And I know you guys have been talking about it. I listened to a podcast back the other day. You guys have been doing it for since 16, a lot of people. So
Yeah. That's when it
it's
started. Yeah.
yeah, it's just exciting. A lot to talk about, and I feel like I might have one or two things to contribute and have a
Good.
good time at the same time.
Good. Good.
So, what a lot of what Keith said, when I would do box breaks, I was having fun doing box breaks and just opening product and meeting people that way. And the group for me was just like Wes said, you run into a group of people that everyone's got a common interest, and you just it opens your mind. I'm crazy about the original art where I started out just purely on the
Mm.
cards, and just the relationships, the group of people, the camaraderie. And yeah, being on that episode was a great time. It was just a lot of fun. And because I don't do that type of, on that platform often. I didn't know. And so, yeah, want to contribute, love the hobby, and, figured this is a great platform. You have a great show, and been around since so almost since the beginning of the group, beginning of
Yeah,
EPAC.
you're one of the OGs. Yeah.
And yeah, it's been awesome to see how everything's grown, and I know you got to be proud, and we're all really excited to be a part of it. So
Super excited.
yeah,
Jason's wearing a Spider-Man outfit today. Where is Jason? Oh, Jason's so keen to be here. He's he's left the podcast recording. I love it. I love it. Right. He'll be back in a minute. I think he's having some technical issues. Um, it, I mean, I don't want to. It's weird. I want to say this, but I want to say this with Jason here. But I'm going to say it anyway because we're recording, and I could edit this together, but I'm not going to. Um, I'm just grateful that you all kind of wanted to pile in, and the good thing about this is there's so many of us. It means that if we're not all around like one week, there'll still be enough of us to kind of get together and just make a show and talk about some stuff, and still going to have guests on, still going to interview people. But the good thing about this is the one thing I missed about having a co-host is the not having to kind of almost world build every episode when you've got someone new on. So, we can kind of dive in and we can talk about like stuff that's happened in the last week. We can talk about new releases again. We can talk, we can like review some stuff that we've opened, that kind of thing. Jason's internet has just died, by the way. I've just got a carrier pigeon message from him. So he'll be back on in a minute. And yeah, I think there might not be the diversity of because we're all white blokes, middle-aged white blokes, pretty much. But weirdly, I think that does it is kind of most of the hobby. I think if you look at the demographic in the groups, certainly when you look at Facebook, it's very much the demographic and the podcast listeners. I can dial into the podcast. In fact, let me just quickly do this right now. If I go on to because the audio is hosted on, well, it was Anchor, but now it's part of Spotify now, so it's owned by Spotify.
Okay. Okay.
But when you go in there, you can go to kind of an analytics tab, and it tells you about your kind of audience and stuff like that. So
oh really?
yeah, so let's just have a look at that while we're waiting for Jason to come back on. So with the analytics, so 79% of listeners are United States, with 8% in Canada. So that's actually gone up a little bit. Actually, it was about, if you put Canada and the US combined, it was about 75 to 80%. So that's gone up a little bit. It's not that the others have dropped. It's just that I think there's just more of a share elsewhere. What else can I tell you? Almost half of people listen through Apple Podcasts or iTunes as I guess most people sort of think of it. And then you've got 42% via Spotify, and then all the others. But the demographic is, in terms of gender, it's 3/4, 75% are male, 10% female, and 13.5% not specified. So they could be male, they could be female, they could be Jedi, for all I know. And age range wise, it's 35 to 44. That's the biggest chunk, with a good chunk in the 45 to 59 as well. In fact, if you add both of those together, you end up with 80% between 35 and 59. So, that's kind of, I think it's fairly safe to say that unless one of us decides to be of a different gender one week, we are pretty much pretty much covering the audience that we're speaking to.
I never thought about that, but when you put that information in, they do just have all that information, right? So
it
they
is
know.
crazy. Yeah. The thing is, Spotify distribute this on the audio side of things. They distribute it through most of the platforms, but the stats, the demographic stats, are only from the Spotify listeners. So that's only representative from the 42% who listen to the audio via Spotify. But if I was to pull up the Facebook group, MCCW, it's very strikingly similar.
Yeah, those were very not shocking numbers, not one of them.
Yeah, no, it's very similar. In fact, you know what? Now that you've got me going on it, let's dig into some more stats, because I think this is really interesting. I'm going to just look at MCCW just quickly. And I'm going to look at the analytics for it. Let's have a look. My phone is pinging away. I think Jason's going to be back soon. He's trying to reconnect. So we're back in a minute. So on the group, where are we? Insights. There's some pretty fab stuff in here. It tells you some pretty good stuff.
It shows membership like joining, right? When levels of see that
it does. It shows you all sorts of stuff as well. So again, through
I'm trying
Facebook,
to give him emotional support while he's out.
That's good. You as emotional support podcast host, is that the idea? That's quite a nice idea, actually, an emotional support podcast host. Age and gender is exactly the same thing. So basically 93% male through Facebook, and this is a much bigger number of people. So, because there's 6,000 people in the group, 93% male, 6% female, and 1% custom. I quite like the idea of custom being an option for gender. That's quite a nice idea, that. Customized. And 35 to 44 is the biggest chunk again.
Same age range.
Yeah. And exactly 2/3 of the group are in the United States of MCCW.
It's interesting. Most of them are of the age to remember to be basically of the collecting age when the cards hit 90, 92.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's fascinating, that.
What they did there on so many different levels is brilliant. They were having trouble selling comics. They were having trouble paying the artists. The money wasn't coming in to the level it is now with things, all the different avenues. And so, that whole thing just blows my mind. It'd be interesting to talk about later on sometime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely, I mean, anything, any holes of gold is the phrase I'm going to use, but I think that's probably not a very good phrase to use. So let me see. This is starting for me to go on here. One thing I will say is when I look on Facebook, it tells me that MCCW is now at 6K members. When you look at it, it says 6K members. Actually, when you dive into it, they're rounding up. It's at 5,962 as I speak. So that by the time people hear this, because it is 2024 as we speak, folks. Honest. So when I say this year, last year, you're about to get really confused. But 5,962. So it will be over 6K by the time this drops, which is pretty damn good, as far as I'm concerned. Now, hopefully, this episode will be live along with new visual creative. And
that's right.
At this point, doesn't it look good, hey, folks? Looks really good, doesn't it? Aren't you impressed with the new podcast logo and graphics? Do you like them?
Knocked it out of the park.
Invisible Woman.
Yeah. Those are because I haven't seen him yet. But bless him, he's working on them right now. Michael Munshaw. Hats off to Michael Munshaw. And as a result of that, on the audio version of this podcast, Michael Munshaw's intro will be at the top. Because it's the least I can do for the man, is put a shout out to him at the top of the episode. But let's just carry on. Jason, catch up with us when your internet reestablishes rather. But we'll crack on. So 2023, last year, as people will hear this, what were your highlights? And I'm going to look at Wesley first on this one. What worked for you? What was the kind of your most exciting thing or product or?
Well, I guess probably the most exciting thing is what I was just talking about was EPAC. I think I picked up. I was working on the rainbow for Spider-Man metal, and I had the basics, the base, the gold, the red, and I was able to pick up an orange on EPAC, and then go back through and pick up just a lot more stuff. A couple plates that I wasn't expecting to pick up, from a plate from 17 and a plate from 2020. And I don't know, it's just been awesome to me. I can pick up, well, what really was cool was I pulled an Iron Man medallion green out of 10. And that just set it up to where people would send me for 22 Avengers. I would get all these trade requests and stuff, and I really wanted to keep it and maybe just hold on to it for some really good trade bait. But then one guy just kept sending me more and more stuff that he would send me, and I ended up getting, I think, almost 200 cards after all said and done. Some really good ones
Wow.
too, because he's been in it for a little while.
Oh, good.
Then I have all this other stuff to trade, sketches, and that just brings in a whole new set of people and
Yep.
get rid of that stuff, and that just kind of snowballed, and I picked up a lot of stuff that I could use.
Nice.
Is that the emerald? Is that the one of 10, the emerald for the medallion?
Yeah, that's the one that I pulled and ended up trading. But yes, it was out
Okay.
of 10. It was.
Yeah,
It looked like
I have a few different versions there. I was the was gold was 99.
gold.
Silver was the common, and black opal.
Correct.
Right.
But yeah,
Then
I
there's
love that subset. They were beautiful.
I've not had any of the golds in hand. Are they as nice as people say? The medallions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're beautiful. The texture on the back is a two-tone gold. So it
Right.
has the Avengers logo in flat gold and then kind of like a pixelated or speckled, just a texture background to the
Nice.
rest of it. And it just jumps. It's beautiful. Yeah, it was a happy coincidence there.
And the platinums. That was the ones out of 100. I haven't had one of those in hand, but I've heard those are really like shiny, vibrant
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, no one got a chance to. So a buddy of mine opened a bunch of Fleer Ultra, and I didn't hit any. I got a little unlucky in that department. All my medallions were common, but yeah, he hit a gold, um, and a platinum, and those ones are beautiful. The camera in the picture doesn't really show the. It's almost uh, like a black pearl like effect to it.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're really nice.
Nice. That reminds me of the Fleer Ultra Spider-Man patterned. They're so difficult to know what they look like because when you look at them on a flat picture, they look exactly the same.
That's
But it was Jonathan Dunn that told me this. If you take a photo with a flash, then the pattern you can see straight away. It's really noticeable just the way they react to the light. And of course, when you get it in hand,
You know,
it's
you got
like,
me
It's a
thinking
different
of some
story.
of the
yeah,
classic
bingo.
classic photos for
Yeah,
the like 95 metal and stuff like that.
yeah.
Better way to take those pictures.
But I remember a black Fleer Ultra Spider-Man Black Cat patterned. I had one on EPAC, and I had it shipped, and this has happened to me twice actually. They shipped me the regular base
Oh,
metal. Third time I managed to get it, managed to land it. But the first two, and I was literally, I was looking at them going, what's going on? You know, what, yeah, surely these are different. But no, they fucked up. And I've heard that happen to other people as well. So at least with the Fleer Ultra Avengers medallion, it sounds to me like there's a little bit more going on to tell them apart. Jason's back. Welcome, Jason.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Just fell down a hole. My internet's still out. I'm using cellular data on my phone. So
Oh, okay. All
can
right.
y'all hear
Well,
me okay?
yeah, we can hear you
Yep.
fine. We can hear you fine. Well, we'll see how we go. Because I don't want you to use all your data up on one podcast. Because then you won't
We
be able
need
to
you
kind
next
of
week.
order. Well, yeah, you won't be able to order pizzas.
I think I've got unlimited. I haven't seen a spike in the bill, so I don't.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Jason, it does look like Spider-Man threw up all over you because you've got a Spider-Man mug and you've got a Spider-Man kind of sweater going on. What's on your cap?
Oh, hail Hydra!
Course, of course.
yin and yang.
Okay, very nice, very nice. All right, Spidey underpants as well.
No,
No, okay, all right.
those are in the washer right now.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, we're half an hour in, and I've already asked one of the new co-hosts what underwear they're wearing. So this is a buckle up, kids.
I
Keith.
expect nothing less.
It shows you're comfortable.
Well, yeah, you know, I would show you mine, but I'm not wearing any. Jason, I'll come back to you in a moment because you've just rejoined us. But if you hear me, let's say the question to Keith, who I'm going to pick on next. Keith, what's been your kind of highlight for 2023? Could be a release, could be a particular card, could be something that's happened to you apart from coming on the podcast, of course.
Yeah, you know what? You nailed it. That is a pretty good highlight. I think for me, because I didn't really open much this year at all. I wasn't thrilled with what was on the landscape, so I focused more on sketches and I acquired a lot of stuff that I was hawking for a while on eBay, stuff I haven't shown yet. It just things came together and I was able to sell some things and get some funds and get some other stuff that I wanted more. And I've had a lot more fun on the art side of things right now.
Oh, nice.
Working with artists, commissions. We were talking before about,
Yeah.
commissions with artists. That's been the most fun I've been able to have lately. So
That's interesting. Did I see you post earlier on looking for sketches?
I did.
Did you post overnight or something like that?
I did. I was looking for a
Yeah.
last minute Christmas gift for myself because as I said in the post, I'm kind of a brat when it comes to things. If I see something, I usually just get it for myself. So when it's time for a gift, my parents and friends are quite frustrated trying to figure out what to get for me. So my sister was like, "Why don't you just get something for yourself? I'll give it to mom. She'll wrap it up, and everybody will be happy." And I was like, "Deal."
Fair
Nice.
enough. Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
Are you having to pay for it, or are they going to actually pay for it as well?
I'll buy it up front, and then we'll work out.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. That sounds like a pretty good approach. Just like, buying stuff, especially with sketches. It's so subjective, isn't it? You've got
Right.
to, I was looking through the comments and I was like, people are showing you some banging stuff. But of course, if it's not in your wheelhouse, it's not in your wheelhouse. Someone sent me a link this morning to a sketch that popped up on group overnight. And it was a Marvel Beginnings Series 1 from 2012. And it was a David Mack sketch card. Now,
Oh wow!
David Mack sketch card, you'd think straight away, I'll have this guy's hand off. And he wanted 200 for it as well. And that's perfectly fair. And it was a black cat. Lovely, lovely card. But I looked at it and I was like, I'm just not feeling it. Could be David Mack, but I've got to actually like I've got to have a connection with that piece of work.
Yeah, that's part of the equation with with a sketch card. It's we should come up with something that we can like galvanize thoughts around, but it's the set of the blank that it comes on divided by the character divide or times the artist.
Yeah.
And so I could be a crazy Venom fan and catch a Venom blank on Gems. That's one of my favorite blanks. We talked about that for 2016 Gems. Is that's going to make it a little bit better for me. And then if it happens to be style of artist, then it goes down, up, or up, depending on. It's just such a I think you
Yeah.
did the right thing. Keith was like, if you wanted a gift, as far as the sketch card goes, how does somebody else do that? We could probably buy one for a friend and feel somewhat confident that we're getting something that's in their wheelhouse, but still, you still kind of taking a dice roll.
Yeah.
There's so many
Right.
factors going
That's
into
the
it.
thing. And the thing is, I'm fussy as well. I mean, I've kind of drawn a line on sketches now. But I gotten more and more fussy as I was as the years went by. I was getting more
Yeah.
fussy. Um, to the point whereby, we were talking about commissioning artists earlier on. There's maybe 3 artists who I'd say just do your thing. The rest of them, I'd be so like micromanaging about
This
it
is
that I couldn't relax. As a result, I've maybe done maybe 8 commissions ever over the last
Oh
15 years.
wow.
And, because it stresses me out. It genuinely does.
yeah.
And on most occasions, in fact, I think almost every sketch that I've commissioned, I've now parted with, or I'm in the
Wow.
process of parting with. Um, the AP, I do have APs, but they're APs that were either done by the artist or were done for someone else. Because I buy by sight, I've got to fall in love with it, whether it's an AP or whether it's pack
Yeah.
work, you know. Um,
Now, can I
so
ask you all of those without giving out too much information? Every one of those came back at least 100% on what you spent.
uh honestly I
Or
can't remember,
close.
is the honest answer. Because I don't tend to keep track of how much I paid. There's a few that stick out from how much I paid. But Jason, sorry, Jason, are you still there? Because your camera's off, but can you still
Oh
hear us?
yeah, yes, I'm still here.
Okay. We've just got this little thing. There's Jason's iPhone, and I'm
iPhone,
like,
yeah.
I'm not sure if like maybe just the lights went out, and it's just got just written that on the screen.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, I'm still here. I'm messing with my phone. Let me log
Oh, that's
out and
okay.
come
That's
back
all
in.
right. That's quite all right. It's quite all right. I'm just checking on you, Jason, because we
Come
care
back with a
about you.
mask,
Yeah,
full
we don't want
Spider-Man mask.
to. We don't want to be. Yeah, he's changing into his Mary Jane outfit.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's later.
Yeah. Oh, you'll wait till I've had a few drinks before you lay that one on me, please. Um, but
Are we just
but
gonna pass over he just talked like came up with some Marvel card algebra, like the sketch
Yeah.
card.
well, no, I
That was
quite
pretty
like the
good.
idea of like, that. I mean, listen, people have tried to describe it in the groups over the years. It's like, when someone fairly new to it or fairly curious or both asks a question about sketches and what makes a sketch valuable and all this sort of stuff. But,
Yeah.
different people have tried to take a stab at it. Um, and everyone's got their kind of approach to it, but I think pretty much the standard thing is it's always that combination of character, artist, and stock. And for some people, when that comes into magical alignment, and there's a deep nerd reference here, like Kowtow that Tuvok plays in Star Trek Voyager, when you get it in alignment, the logic just makes sense. It's perfect. And but if one of those things is slightly off, it's like pushing a shopping cart that's got a wobbly wheel. You
Absolutely.
can get around the store, but you're just aware of the fact that it's just doing this
Yeah.
all the way along. And it might even be making some sort of little squeaky noise while it's doing it. You can just hear it. So,
Right.
there's a couple of sketches I've got in that box over there that are just making that little squeaky noise, even though they're within the 79 that I decided to keep. So there may be Jason's back for the third time. Welcome.
Yes, yes.
Now,
Thank you. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous, but anyway.
That's
you
okay.
could just keep us on our toes with costume changes, things like
Yeah. So for those listening just on audio, Jason is now in the MJ outfit, and quite frankly, I'm glad I'm sat down.
I feel
Do
Um,
like
do I make a
I,
good redhead?
I feel like I feel like I
yes.
hit the jackpot.
nice line, thank you. Um,
Um, I about the sketches though, like one of the newest things that, or I should say this, when people get into the hobby and they're relatively new, that's their biggest question is how do I evaluate the sketch card? How
yeah,
am I making sure I'm protected on what I'm spending here? Um, And so like I've had so many questions from people on how to try, and some of them have really large collections. And
I got to say, I like this. Can we? What I'm going to do, I'm going to pop a pin in this,
yeah,
and we are going to do it. We're going to have that as like, maybe next or episode, or a couple of episodes. We're going to just talk on that and just talk about that sketchy stuff, because I think that'd be a really handy thing to do. And there's a couple of folks who've posted in group, and I remember I've got this thing on Facebook where I see posts, and you can save stuff, but you can save it into like folders as well.
Mhm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when I look at my saved items, I've got a folder for buying posts, my sales posts, and I've got one for problem posts where someone's being a dick in group, or like we had over the last 12 hours, literally 2 scammers kicked
Ugh.
off
Wow.
in the last 12 hours.
Let me tell you
Um,
something. Moved swift.
Oh, well, I think had to be done. One guy was shilling his own auctions on eBay. It's just like when you see all the evidence laid out, it's like, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, but and then I've got to talk about, and I always like save stuff in those folders of things that I think that'd be great to talk about for the podcast. So I'm going to dive in there. I'm going to find some of those sketch posts from back in the day, because some of them are a couple of years old now, but they all stay there. They all stay in that saved folder unless someone deletes it, and I'll pull them out. Jason, what's for you? What's been a highlight for 2023, or what is there a set or a card or a particular change to your collecting that's
I kind of took a break for, I mean, not really a break. I still buy cards and I like cards, but 2022, I think early on I put kind of a base set together of Spider-Verse because I loved that movie. When it dropped on e-pack, I think it dropped on e-pack late 2022, early 2023,
yes.
on e-pack. So yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've had the most fun with is the blaster boxes at Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. Has been the most fun for me. Definitely ripped a lot of Winter Soldier, Fleer Ultra Avengers, and got really big into Beginnings, which is a fun set for me. I don't know if there's anything it brings new to the table, but being a Marvel fan, I just like seeing characters I've never heard of. I like some of the image choices. I think the base cards are real clean. So trying to put a set of base red Supernova, which is the base parallel for the blaster, and the purple border that's the exclusive for e-pack. So I can
Right.
have the 3 kind of ones in the binder, and I also put a rainbow together of Madam Hydra from that set.
Oh, nice.
So I don't have the purple one of one yet, or a plate, or the red Supernova from the blaster, but I've got everything else for that one. But yeah, but I would say the blasters are just fun. I like opening packs, and you kind of get your instant gratification there. I haven't pulled anything crazy from a blaster, but they're still fun, kind of entry level for for people, or if you want to build a
Yeah.
set,
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
easy way to do it. But
Scratches that itch.
it does. So I
And
think
for
the blasters.
Spider-Man, you could get the jambalayas and everything in the blasters. There wasn't the restrictions that
Correct.
Oh
that
yeah,
was the way to go. That's how people love the blaster when, hey, it's, you understand the chances are cranked down a little bit, but give me a shot at the good stuff too.
right. Yeah, the Spider-Man metal is a sore point for me because the blasters, I never saw the blasters. And so I was really disappointed. As you can tell, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So I think I pulled some film cells, which I know people, that's a sticking point for some people, but some film cells out of some of the blasters. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, those are probably the biggest things I pulled out of the Marvel blasters. I did pull a Spider-Man Rook chess piece from the Fleer Ultra Avengers, which
That's nice.
mostly you get the pawns in those, so that was cool. But yeah, blasters. And I think my internet died when you were going around the room about why we wanted to join the podcast.
Yes. Apologies for forgetting that and not coming back to you now that you're back.
No, that's fine.
You have the floor, sir.
All right. Yeah, I decided that this was all planned so I could disrupt the podcast and make it all about me.
Well done.
No, like the other guy said, I enjoyed when I was on this podcast. Probably, I guess it's 2.5 years.
Episode 55. That would have been 2000. COVID year.
Yeah, 20. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of getting
2020,
into,
sorry, not 2000.
yeah, I was getting into cards again, character collecting at the time. And anyway, it was a fun time. I've been involved or had been involved in podcasts and YouTube off and on from like 2015 to 2019 and enjoyed it, but just kind of took a break because, either doing it myself or being part of like a small part of a big, not a big, but a bigger group. I liked being a guest host, but it's been about 4 years now since almost 5 years, geez, since I've done anything. And this opportunity came up, and I like talking about Marvel cards and learning about them because I think I'm still learning about it. Y'all talking about sketches and stuff like that.
That's the thing with Marvel cards. Everyone's still learning about.
Yeah. I mean,
no one knows everything.
I've got experience with comic books, and I used to do commissions on the blank covers, but the card, the sketch cards is almost a different animal to speak of. So anyway, but yeah, that's why I wanted to join y'all on this
it's cool.
new journey.
Well, welcome. I'm just going to make a note down for that episode we're going to do, which is going to be what makes a great sketch card. What makes a great sketch card? Great, even. Coming soon to a podcast feed near you as soon as we record the bloody thing.
I might wait to talk about that then, but yesterday I pulled a sketch of Mole Man, and you would think Mole Man, but the artist just did an amazing job. Marlo, I put a post on
Marlo Martos.
Marlo Martos, yeah.
Oh,
he's
gosh,
really
it's beautiful.
good.
It's amazing.
And that's another variable in this like equation
right.
we're trying to build here is that effort and energy is something you can't fake. And people have bad days. It's just, we all try to stay constant and remain, consistent. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, you get hurt, you get injured, life stuff happens. And I see some sketches even from the same artist where it's, wow, like, how do you do that? How's that even possible? And then sometimes it's like, all right, that was a quick one. That was just
that's the luck of it's the kind of way it goes. I mean, deadlines as well, and
broken coffee machine.
It's broken coffee machine. Yeah, all the
right.
all the sketch card stock for that set isn't just working for that artist as well. That's a big one, that I've heard artists talking about. Or that happens and their coffee machine breaks, which is just like, I mean, come on. It's just not on.
I'd be running hot water over that coffee bag with my head underneath
it's
just trying to direct feed.
Yeah. I mean, have you not got no, we need to get you some sort of backup thing. Like a redundancy for when you're.
Oh, this will never happen again. This will never happen.
It bloody well won't if I have my way. I'll tell you. We're all going to
one of those little mini Keurigs underneath the desk, so you can just do it from camera and not even.
You just want basically if we each get off this and Amazon you a coffee machine, you'll have 4 backups. So we'll get right on that. So don't want to put too much of a downer on it, but there's 2 segue questions before we go into things that we're going to be looking forward to. What's kind of been your frustration or your biggest challenge or lowlights, I guess, in 2023? What's been the thing that's kind of put you off or kicked you in the nuts a little bit or just caused you to disengage a little bit? I mean, I know, Keith, I'm going to look at you here on this one, not to pick on you too much because I know your caffeine withdrawal is probably kicking in, but you came on 3 months ago now in a position of kind of being at a bit of a crossroads, I think it's fairly safe to say, and a bit disillusioned with some stuff and not knowing which way to turn. have you kind of started to come out the other side of that a little bit, or have you managed to recalibrate somewhat?
I feel better about where I stand with it, and part of it was just coming on and having that therapeutic moment with you. But I didn't really. Part of that is like the collecting sketches instead. I didn't really find myself impressed with a lot of what came out. I steered away from getting involved in the rip madness of masterpieces, and I'm just gonna sit back and wait and get base sets when it's all done. I've
Hmm.
gotten some singles and stuff that I need, and a couple things of just, X23. And besides that, I've been very low key as far as how I've been ripping and opening things and just acquiring things I like.
Mm.
On the horizon, I feel better about some product, but I wasn't thrilled with what came out this year, so I just stayed in my lane, had fun. Um, yeah, and that's where I lay right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Not everything that comes out can float your boat. I mean, it sounds like you've had an awful lot of fun with Fleer Avengers, but is there anything that you've looking at you, Jason, now, so it would help if I said that, wouldn't it? We know what you've enjoyed. Is there anything that's kind of just been a bit frustrating or has put you off a bit or just wasn't right
Um,
for you?
I mean, I'm happy that like it seems like in the last what 6 months, a bunch of products have come out, or 5 months. I don't know. It seemed like we had a lot of Marvel products come out,
Getting
but
better.
Been loads all year, but yeah.
it, it it's almost like it's too much to keep up with. And I've just I really liked the episode Keith was on because I've felt the same things he was feeling kind of this
Yeah.
year with just it's kind of hard to keep up. And so that's why I kind of just been focusing just kind of opening blasters and not really trying to put anything together per se. And I think the one highlight of kind of staying away from boxes because I was disappointed with the price of masterpieces because I really, really liked the art on this new masterpieces.
Mm,
I'm a big fan of the 94 set, and it reminded me a lot of that Hildebrand
Did
set.
a lot of
But
that on
Yeah.
purpose.
so anyway, but I think that the positive is that it's got me really looking at buying singles. So I was able to buy some affordable autographs. So it's been even though it's been kind of a sort of a mixed bag as far as what I want to do and kind of not wanting to spend a lot on boxes for something I'm not excited about, it's got me to really look at, buying singles and
yeah.
stuff. So it's so I try to find the positive out of everything.
Finding the joy is how I've been phrasing it. Try and
Yeah.
find the joy in, as many of the releases as possible, because otherwise you're going to drive yourself nuts.
Well, you
I mean,
go
if a
from
set's
the
not
great
for you,
drought
yeah,
to this floodgates are open thing. That's a big. People
Mhm.
aren't used to that.
yeah,
There was a lot of people saving up for certain things, and now it's hard to do that when you like everything.
yeah, yeah. It's difficult.
It's
It's like
almost
having
like too many choices, right?
it
Like
is.
Yeah.
It's
it's
like being a
like
three-legged dog in a forest. You're so
Hey,
frustrated.
we all kind of have an idea, which I mean, hopefully you can learn more about how their issues for release and what
Mm,
holds them up, and to try to help us understand, what's going to get delayed in the future and some of the
yeah,
reasons why.
yeah.
But it almost seems like, and again, love over deck, um, not going to send them any more voicemails. But they they're awesome. They do a great job for like the demand and all the
Mhm.
stuff that they've got going on. But with such a gap, we were in the desert, like he said, and then just boom, you know,
Yeah.
all of a sudden those many.
Stampede.
If one or two could have come out a little sooner, and then a couple, and then maybe hold off on one. Yeah, people are trying to get their ideas and their heads wrapped around these new sets, and it just takes time.
Yeah.
Does it
Never
also
mind.
sorry, does it also feel like while all the physical product came out boom, 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 I kind of like to wait for e-pack because sometimes it's a little bit cheaper and you can just that addictive click and open deal. But does it seem like that there's still a little bit of a delay with the e-pack releases? Because I mean, we've
Yeah.
got a bunch of physical products, and as far as the e-packs, I mean, Flair
It was
Ultra, Marvel annuals seem to come kind of late, beginnings, and
Well, Allure still hasn't come out on
and
e-pack, and
yeah,
that's the
Right.
surprise one for me because Allure was in stores in quarter two. It was before the summer.
See, I was just thinking about this, and I was thinking, do the other companies have anything like Upper Deck does?
For
Like
physical product on
That
on a
tops.
on a digital
for
platform, no.
right. See,
Tops is
so
all
that
digital.
what I'm wondering is if maybe it's a little harder to put some of the stuff through, take the actual pictures and put them
Yeah.
up, and then, I
Yeah.
mean, not to stick up for, us waiting for them or whatever, but I mean, there's got to be a reason, and you don't want to like not appreciate the fact that they do this because I mean, I
It's
just
a
got
lot
my
of work.
It's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
huge
they do.
undertaking.
Think about the number of cards. If you
Yeah.
if you, if you go onto ePack and you look at the marketplace and look at the number of cards that are there
Mhm.
for each product, and then look into how many of those are physical, and that's just the ones that are unlocked. So
Right.
you think
Right.
about the number of cards. Now they're not scanning every single card that goes in, to be fair. But then if you look at some of the inserts where they would have to scan them, like all the numbered ones, for example,
Right.
some of
They
these
get me
sets
on
have
the
got
achievements. Like
yes,
they
yeah,
get me on the achievements every time. Some of
yeah,
those achievements are just gorgeous, and
yeah,
they sell.
yeah. So beginnings is a prime example of this. Beginnings, I've no interest in chasing after it on ePack because I would spend a lot of money to get these achievement cards because it's a
Mhm.
vast set. But the corner box, the little corner box achievement cards, I keep seeing them pop up, and I'm like, oh, I might have to. I just
Yeah,
might have to
I
go for
saw my
those.
first one on a post, the Black Spider-Man
Mm.
Mhm.
Yes.
one. Somebody
Yeah.
posted just the other day.
It's Amazing Spider-Man 252. Yeah,
Is it thin, like a
yeah. It's like a little
an
cigarette
old
card.
sports ticket? Or
Yeah,
okay,
Okay.
yeah,
You know the anime, like the capsules, those
yeah,
little thin
yeah,
guys. It's like something sized like that.
yeah. I
okay,
think it's a little bit taller, so which is more akin to and you can get Ultra Pro pages for cigarette cards, which have more pockets. I think they have like maybe 15. I think they have 3 rows of 5.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you can get pages for them.
okay.
Should
Okay.
if you choose to store like that, but obviously you won't get mags that size.
Yeah.
It'll be swimming around in a top
No,
loader.
yeah,
So I'm not even
Yeah.
sure you can get penny sleeves. I mean, they obviously no, you must be able to get penny sleeves for them because if Ultra
Mhm.
Pro make a page for them, then you would have thought they'd do some sort of sleeve for them. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm going to circle it back to something someone said about 10 minutes ago. There's been a growing number of people using a hashtag buying singles and just focusing rather than on the expense of just going for, boxes and boxes of product because,
Mhm.
there's a lot more product out there, but the hits seem to be spread more thinly. I mean, there are plenty of hits, but because there's more product, you've got to buy quite a lot to actually be able to get
Right.
what you're after, especially on the MCU side with autos, which are like 2 a case for most products now. And so a lot of people are just saying, I'm not gonna rip a case worth of, I don't know, I'm just going to pull it out of my head because it was a recent experience from someone in group. Loki. I'm not going to pull a case of Loki and the 24 film sale cards that I don't want and the 2 autos that I did want. I might as well have just gone and bought those autos with that money. So there's a lot of people who are going that route now.
It's
Um,
I bought two case. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I went two cases in 23. One was Clear Ultra, and the other one was Spider-Man Metal. And we talked about it on the episode. I got so lucky. I mean, I got so lucky when it came to condition and quality control issues on the sets were just all over the place. And it was, I mean, I got in as early as I could on both those cases, but you guys have seen what's going on with the prices. So,
mhm.
even a vendor price or a big time pre-order, like way ahead of time is still up there.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was like for 23, that was my main thing was getting into the original art end of it because I was tired of dealing with the delays and for set releases and then the price hikes. And then so what? It's still awesome stuff and the value is going to be there. So you spend it and now the stuff comes back and there's condition issues. And I saw a bunch of people I felt really bad for because some of their really nice hits were banged up and so yeah, that was kind of the thing is release dates getting pushed back, and then once we got it, the condition issues were
Yep.
if it's gonna be pushed back,
Make
have
it right.
have
Yeah.
it be yeah, and we'll be all right, you know. Masterpieces released when they could have released that next year. We'd all still be after we're done complaining, we'd all still be stoked.
Yeah,
As long as it's
yeah,
efficient.
yeah, and the rip madness would just be delayed a little bit. Well, that's a
Yeah.
perfect phrase, that Keith. We're going to use that a lot going forward. Rip madness. Um, Someone used the phrase "rip responsibly."
That's not possible.
Yeah, is there a thing? No.
Well, no, but that's the thing. I know. I get where it's coming from. I think it was Luis Alonso, and I get where his head's at. Is like there are products that are at a decent price if you just want to rip. Like if you just want the fun of opening the card. So the blasters would fit into that category. But products like annual, products like beginnings, it's an affordable, cheap rip. If you just want to bust open some cards and possibly get something that's a decent hit. I think there's some products that are really cheap now, mainly on the MCU and Disney Plus side, that are still a bit of a challenge, even at the reduced prices. I mean, some of the stuff is out there at $50 a box now. Some of the older MCU sets. Someone was opening
talking about that.
WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier at $50 a box, $45 a box, because retailers are just dumping it, which is great for them if they're buying that product now. But it's not good in the long run because those retailers aren't going to get in that product next year or the year after if they've had to dump it below cost. So, yeah.
You got all these people on a volume model to where they have to turn their inventory quick, and if they have it and they have to turn it and cut the price down, I guess that's good for some of us collectors, right?
It's good for you now, but it's not good in the long run, I don't think. Necessarily.
Right.
Which is why I hope they keep blasters going. You might not get the full breadth of product and everything, but
I really would love to see the blasters keep going, be as available as possible, lighten the restrictions so that way any of the top tier hits are still in there, at a lesser percentage, fine. But give us blasters for everything.
Yeah.
It is for go ahead. Sorry.
In masterpieces, I kind of wondered about the price hike there being so big. If that had anything to do with the additional parallels and variants they put in there, because from their end, they're specking out value on the box on how, what do people do when they have these hobby boxes? They keep their PC cards, or if they don't, aren't too emotionally tied to that, they'll turn that to. And so when they created brought over the ambers, created a couple extra colors and parallels with like the greens and then the Battle Spectre parallels. Like we not only got additional parallels, we got add-ons to the ones we already had. So I don't think I've formed an opinion on how I feel about all that yet, but I wonder if it did have also with the hype and everything something to do with the big increased price on Marvel Masterpieces, because that kind of seems like the catalyst for everything else.
I feel like that the extra inserts didn't drive that price at all. I think we did. No. I think the drought did. I think when they saw what they were able to do with Spider-Man Metal, they turned around and said, well, if people were dying for that, they're really dying for this. Yeah. And the added parallels were just meant to extend the product, in my opinion, just to make it last longer. Because I think there was almost a fear that this stuff was going to be gone very quickly because of the limit numbering and everything like that. So by adding extra layers and parallels to it, and then we haven't even seen EPAC yet and what they're going to come up with, I'm sure there'll be another color in there somewhere. And that's all I think meant to just drive the life of the product. The price was, we decided that price ourselves based on how we've been buying and collecting as a group.
Yeah, plenty of people.
Yeah, they got me. I'm tapped in on an IV pretty much, and when EPAC comes out, it's going to be
it's going to be fast and furious.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yes, with or without.
But as long as you have family, it's okay if it's fast and furious.
Yeah, family's all that matters, isn't it? Nice, cool. I'm loving these cultural references. More, please.
And not to get back off of the blaster thing, but I know like because I've ripped a bunch of blasters, but like if I go into a Meijer or a Walmart and I see a beginnings and an allure, I'll probably go to the allure, because they have that chance of hitting the magenta out of 23. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have
Mhm.
gotten any of those, but beginnings, I haven't got anything big out of it yet or seen anything really big out of it yet. But the magentas, I pulled like 2 or 3 so far. So getting that, like Josh was saying, getting the extra, having the extra nicer cards, chance of the nicer cards
Mhm.
would help in the blasters. I know there's going to be a cost variance there for some of them, but I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean
People
I
will
do
collect
like.
those.
Well, I do like what I like is the things like Annual where they had the blue parallel that was only in the blasters, which I still need. There's 4 characters I'm going after that have got Black Cat on the back, and I still need those. And Jason, I'm going to hit you up afterwards because there's a couple of cards I'm rainbowing in Falcon and Winter Soldier in one division, and you've been buying
Okay.
blasters, so you might be able to help me out with stuff like that. But
I definitely have a bunch of
makes it fun.
Falcon Winter Soldier, mostly
Mm.
bases and
Oh, I got
some of the
loads.
yellows.
I got it's the yellows from the blasters that I need from one division and from
Oh yeah, the taxi, the yellow, those ones were awesome.
Oh yeah, they were the Allure ones, the taxi ones. Yeah,
Mhm.
they didn't call them taxi in the others. I don't know why they called them yellow taxi and Allure because
Yeah,
they're also yellow in one division. I think anyway.
But
there's a
don't
lot of stuff.
allure doesn't allure. I haven't bought any, but the allure, aren't all the parallels have kind of crazy names like
Yes,
Storm
Storm and
and
there's
stuff. Yeah.
The storm parallel, the orange, orange juice
Oh,
parallel.
Orange Slice. Yeah.
Diamond
Yeah,
Orange
orange
Slice.
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 Yeah,
That's a good
that's what
Yeah.
I
pick.
was.
That's a
Yeah,
great name.
I pulled an orange slice and I was so unimpressed with it. I was like, oh,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah,
there's some really challenging shark jumping moments in Allure. Um,
It's
and
got so
some
many
really nice
corners.
elements to it as well. But yeah, no, it doesn't
I
have
think
corners.
mine was a Wanda. I think the orange slice. My experience was the Wanda Maximoff one.
Yeah, Wonder Maximoff's Orange Slice. Okay, there you go. Um, what's if you just not stuff that's come out in 2023, but is there anything that you've kind of found in the past year that is from older releases and older sets that you never knew existed or you'd never kind of touched before that you were like, why am I this year old when I've discovered this? How come I didn't get this before? So anything like that that you've been like, wow.
I,
Any,
I'm, I mean, for me, it's I. We'll do this thing where we'll go out to these comic shops, and we've got a map that we just go hit different comic shops here in Ohio, and we found this place in Dayton, like an hour away, and we walked in there and walked around a little bit. Sometimes, you go in these places and they got dust all over, and they don't know how to organize, and those are those are some of the funner places though, because sometimes they have stuff you don't expect to see. But I found a shop that had uh the was it 2014 Marvel Universe, had an Emerald to 100 set,
Oh,
the whole blue set and the whole base set. They also had the what the versus, uh or the what's the set where they got the people fighting against each other, the battle.
Greatest Battles.
Yeah, Greatest Battles.
Hmm.
They had the red and the base set of that, and the Greatest Heroes set, the base and the
The
red set of that.
Rittenhouse
So,
ones. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
and they were all super cheap. I like hit a gold mine for a Marvel card collector. But I'm going through each one of those and I'm looking at the art on some of these, and it was so cool because it had the name of the artist on the back,
Yep.
so you could look at it and see the artist. And there's Rittenhouse sets. There's some cool sets in there.
There's some really cool sets. Yeah.
Rittenhouse is extremely underappreciated in our community.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I don't understand why. I don't know is it from the production end or anything like that? Because
They're
the
beautiful.
art is beautiful. The art is awesome. And to try to get into some of the sets, you got to look at and people buy them and they hold on to them. I think that speaks a lot about the art. They don't trade and sell that much that often. There's not as big of a market on them, but they're beautiful cards.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There is a
And
lot out there. There is a lot of it out there because people would buy up box after box after box just to get the sketches because it's guaranteed sketch per box with
Yeah.
Rittenhouse. So
Mhm.
you do sometimes see people dumping off
And you get that
tendering
cool
out.
stuff though.
Yeah.
You get those
ooh.
that little
Yeah,
guy.
that's cool.
Oh, the incentives with the gold seal.
Yep, those are so cool.
I've seen Glebe sketches through Rittenhouse stuff.
Hmm.
A couple really amazing Glebe sketches and a few others that from even the sketch cards and
Hmm.
all the stuff they do. Figure it out later, but why it's not, I don't
And
know. So
jumbo sketch cards.
yeah,
Oh.
I
Hang on.
mean,
Turn that around.
Oh no.
yeah, let's
Oh.
uh-oh.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
that's
Oh my goodness.
beautiful.
I didn't know that existed
Yeah, I've
with
been
gold seal.
toying with ripping that seal so I could frame it, and I'm not sure if that makes me a bad person if I do.
Could you frame it in that? Like, hold it up one more time. Is there a way
This is the
to?
first time this is the first time I've shown this.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
man.
man, that's
That's
amazing.
good
Wow.
banging. So that's an
Yeah.
uncut for sketch.
Women of
I
Marble.
didn't even know they did those.
Yeah, me either.
That
That's
Woman in
awesome.
Marble set is that's one of my favorites too. That Woman in Marble set.
But
And
that's
I loved
yeah.
the
See,
X-23 from this year's Marvel Masterpieces, and that one right there, dude, is just as good. That thing's on point.
Remember when I said I was chasing something for a long time
mm,
and I finally was able to get it? That was one of
wow,
them.
Yeah.
that's impressive. Hats off to you. Well, there's a whole thing about the seal. Um, there are people who think it's an abomination and think that cards should be freed from it, and there are people that think that without the seal, the card that comes in it is lesser in some way. I'm of the latter opinion.
So I'm never going to sell that though, Ian. That's mine.
No, but I'm the same. I've got pieces here. I've got pieces from the James Bond set, for example, that are with the seal, and for me, that is part of the whole piece. So I wouldn't part with it. I mean, I asked Steve Charendorf, president of Rittenhouse, when he was on this very question because I thought I'd rather have his opinion because he's the guy who came up with the concept and makes the thing. And he very much leaned towards the fact that they are, you know, in his view, they should remain sealed. But ultimately, once it's in your possession, you can do what the fuck you want with it.
So,
So
so
yeah.
what's the deal with the seal? I've seen those. Did they come in a box or was it in a mail off or
It was a case topper.
Case topper or a dealer incentive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I've got
The
some
seal
pretty
is
tasty
thought of
ones.
as like a notary stamp.
Yeah, it's
You
almost
know,
like
it's
authentication in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to go and get one.
Cool.
yeah, I think I've got a
There
Women
you
in
go.
Marble
hmm.
signed by
Yeah, see, that's awesome. That thing's
Adam
beautiful.
Hughes. Yeah.
And with that, it's because it's not a painting like, or full size like Keats. You're like it does obstruct a little bit of the front. So I can see why
Well,
people
yeah.
pull them,
And
to get the full view of a card small.
it's an on card auto too, which is
Yeah,
kind of
see, that
cool
thing's
because
Oh,
awesome.
the
Yeah.
Adam Hughes
Yeah.
Women of Marvel one is a
Yeah.
nice one. There's a lot of those about actually. There's my James Bond. I chose to have one
Nice.
binder for this because they're Rittenhouse did loads. Because I only collect the Daniel Craig era movies.
that's a great one.
And some of the stuff in here is just, I mean, I wouldn't take these out of their seal anyway, simply because it would fall out and it would go, it would go everywhere. But it holds it in. This is a thick card. Look how thick that is.
Dang.
Whew.
The reason being is because it's a piece of the windscreen from the Aston Martin
Whoa.
Whoa.
embedded in a card.
What?
that's original.
Isn't that the most bonkers thing?
Mhm.
If I have Steve talked about this on the episode, because I mean, I'll let you go back and listen to the full thing, but the
That episode's worth listening to.
yeah, the TLDR version is that they were sent the windscreens from the production company in Europe, and Steve Charendorf got a phone call from his warehouse guy and said they've arrived, but I'm really sorry, but they're all smashed in transit. And Steve's like, no. They were like that when they were sent because they were blown up and shot at, and, and crashed on the set. I think they got 5 windscreens from the 5 different cars sent over.
Wow.
So his challenge was
That's
then, how do I get these in a card? And so, they did that. But things like this, it kind of works for me because it's kind
That
of
makes sense to me.
the extra authentication. For sketches, I can see the dilemma of, okay, do I keep it in there? Do I take it out? I can see that a bit more. But for something like certainly a relic and probably an autograph,
I think
I'd
even if
always
it was
keep
a
it in there.
regular size sketch, I'd probably be cool with it. But it's the fact that it's
Mm,
oversized and I want to frame it
yeah,
properly.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
just don't
Yes.
know how it's going to look in that top loader and everything because
Mhm.
that top loader's seen some age.
So, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
chance that they could do a frame that has, like one of those open window door
yes,
frames.
Mhm.
And so you could put it in there as is, let it sit for a little bit, kind of marinate on your thoughts and how you feel about it. And then if
marinade.
you decide you do want to pull it from that, they can just put, as it's a 2-layer or a 3-layer, they can just add a border
Mm,
around it and it will be specced out right to the image.
yeah,
But if you do one of the first ones where it's all specced out from the beginning, you're not going to have a chance to bounce it
Change your
around.
mind. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
over.
So,
It's a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah.
well, I'd be doing the same thing. That would be the only thing holding me up getting it done is
Mm,
that right there, because I'll toss that around all day
mm,
and get decision paralysis.
yeah.
That's what-
That's a good
Yes.
chat with the Discovering the Rittenhouse stuff, though, because it's definitely underappreciated.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I'm still kind of finding more of that Rittenhouse stuff. I mean, I've got a couple sketches. I love the sketch stock on Rittenhouse because it looks like the pages, the original comic book
yeah,
pages
they've
with the
got
kind of little
those lines
grid
on. Yeah,
marks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And the comic cuts are really nice. They thin and they did a good job of like some big full images of, from some of the comics.
yeah,
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 they've
used to
got some
do.
hollows as well. I thought I saw a couple Battle Spectre like hollows.
yeah. They did some. Well, a
One
lot of
one
the case
particular
topper
is
ones are foil,
yeah.
and they look pretty good. Um, but no, they did too for one of the sets. They did a fair few sets with shadow boxes,
Yes.
and they're nice. They're really nice. In fact, Tommy Henderson, he of the Era cards, he also has got quite a lot of production pieces from Rittenhouse sets that he's managed to acquire over the years, including like uncut shadow box elements, like different sheets of like. You think about the number of layers that go into that. That's quite remarkable to look at. Whenever he posts pictures of them, it's worth having a look at. Um, Jason is now physically leaving the room, so he's once again trying to escape the podcast.
I was
I wonder what's in that cupboard he's looking in. I wonder what all sorts of goodies are in there.
He's trying to find something for us for
There
sure.
is.
right. It's
What if, what
just
if,
show and
what if,
tell.
what if an arm suddenly fell into view of a dead
It just
body or
yanks him
something
in the
like that? Yeah,
closet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Pulls him in. Yeah. It's like he looks good in that Mary Jane outfit though. I mean, he could have
Mhm.
done the bikini line a bit better, but yeah. Um,
I guess I don't know. I know, Ian, Black Cat, Keith, X23 as Josh, Jason. Do you guys have a character you guys collect
Oh yeah.
mainly, or
So yeah, I had in the beginning it was Iron Man. For forever. I built a 636 Ninja
Cheers.
and had some yeah. Um, so I was a couple of my friends did airbrush work, and we did a 636 Ninja RR with the full Iron Man,
wow?
decked out with arc reactor, magnetic on the gas tank. That was a crazy project. Got me in touch with a lot of people, and so it was all Iron Man from that point. Oh, the helmet was all airbrushed too. Very
Oh, that's
dangerous. The
that's
visor
cool.
was done and everything too with this one-way mirroring. So you're supposed to be able to see out, except once it's airbrushed, you see nothing. So you
That's
ride with your visor cracked, and if wind puts it down, you're blind and you're praying for a few seconds so you can. But yeah, taking that thing to shows and doing stuff like that was awesome. And then after that, it was always Iron Man Venom, Iron Man Venom.
well,
So yeah, I've put some money into some Spider-Man Venom stuff that yeah, it's it's an addiction, but you know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in and just ask a question. I just wasn't sure.
I well, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, but when I got into cards, I realized that um I wasn't I guess I shouldn't care about trying to keep up, but it just like everybody likes Spider-Man and it's just he's a high demand character. So I started initially with Spider-Man 2099
Mm.
um and collected him, put a couple different little rainbows together, but I've since sold those because more people were kind of getting into it and it just I don't always like competition, but now it's just, liking to put together sets or if there's a certain character in a card image, I'll do a rainbow. I've done some MCU rainbows. For whatever reason, I've done Marvel Annual 16, 17, and now Beginnings. I've put together rainbows of Madam Hydra. Um, I don't know if I want to go full bore and become a Madam Hydra collector, but she's kind of a fun one to put together. But I kind of like anything if it looks cool or I can make a mini set out of it. Spider-Man, but I like X-Men. I mean, I like them all. So
Yeah.
That your comment about Madam Hydra, like, so I've talked about it before. Sometimes the character finds you, right?
Yes.
You get into a set and you say, I'm going to collect this, this, and this, and it gives you that, that, and that, and you're like, well,
Mhm.
Jesus, what am I supposed to do with? And you just
right.
find yourself on a journey sometimes collecting something you never thought you would. That's one of the things I enjoy about the hobby and opening boxes and stuff. Actually, is
Yeah.
that it'll surprise you with
Well,
with what you're going to end up collecting.
yeah, I've always liked the whole I've always been a Spider-Man and X-Men fan, but I've always liked the whole Shield Hydra deal,
Dynamic.
the
Yeah.
secret societies. I mean, it goes back to like, the Ninja Turtles and the Foot Clan, the G.I. Joe and Cobra,
Right.
James Bond and
Yeah.
Spectre. But yeah,
There you go. You got
I
Ian.
like, yeah. So I like the whole kind of different little, clandestine type spy organizations and stuff. And, um, but yeah, so I've always kind of been into the Shield Hydra, dynamic.
Nice. I tell you what, I've really enjoyed this year. That I've always liked them, but just the metal cards. I mean,
Um,
a set like Loki, film
yeah, I
sales
didn't.
aside, but there's something about the metal cards and they just they just do something. It's got a slight edge to it. I mean, this is a very traditional shape.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Some of them they do cutouts and things like that, and they've obviously rounded the corner stuff. But I mean, it's alligator Loki on a card that can make that noise.
Metal.
It's
Yep.
just
The
Mhm.
it's
feel
brilliant.
in your hand, the
I
It's
temperature, the
yeah,
rounded edges.
I
and the
didn't
quality of
realize
the
that
color
those
on
were
them.
I didn't realize those were metal,
The
the
temp
tip
pads,
pad.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
they're nice. They've been doing them on a lot of the MCU sets this year. Not so much on the apart from Masterpieces Metallurgy, which,
Yeah.
by the way, I've yet to see a Black Cat one from Masterpieces 22. Have you, Wesley?
No, I have not.
I've not
I have
seen
not
one
heard of
listed in group or on eBay at all.
Mm.
And
No,
it's
I have
kind of
not.
we're this far out from release that I'm kind of a bit like, what? In fact,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
not seen that many Metallurgy at all,
I
I'm
was
a
gonna say I haven't seen a ton.
which seems
I'm a
odd.
big metal card fan, and the metallurgy from 20 to 22
Mm,
was huge pickup in the printing process.
yeah.
The way that the image I'm pretty sure it's sublimation. It's a type of sublimation printing, which is difficult to get image vibrancy,
Mm,
like really different colors pop in strong. And they did an awesome job on 20, and then exactly what
20,
I expected to
beautiful.
see on 22.
Yeah.
They refined it and made it better.
I mean,
People, the 20s, the market just skyrocketed.
yeah.
So,
I mean, this is how rich the colors are on the newest ones. This is Hawkeye.
oh,
You can
wait a
see that.
second. It comes apart.
But no, it's
How
an
does
arrow.
that?
No, it's just in
Okay.
the
That's
Shape.
shape of an
awesome.
arrow. That's cool.
I mean,
That's
this
Yeah.
cool
happens
though.
to be an auto one, as
Oh,
well.
that's
Numbers
sweet.
25, but
Is
it's
that
just the richness of the color on them is. I mean, it's looking washed out because of the light from the screen, and it's starting to get dark outside. So it's the brighter light source. But that's that really rich blacks, blues, yellows. I mean, the coloring on them is just so good. So it's kind of a sweet spot at the moment for me.
I
The
forgot that
things I've
set
been
came
enjoying.
out.
Yeah, well, it was only what 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's the thing. That's the thing with this year, last year rather, because of course we're in 2024 now, guys.
Right.
That's the thing with it's just that there's so much stuff. I mean, I was making a list just of the stuff that's coming in 2024, which let's segue into that. And I sent a very brief bullet list to our chat, and instantly several of you replied, "Oh, you forgot this, you forgot that." It's just like because there's so much still to come. I mean, this week, all right, as we record, this week you've got Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I think is going to be the last physical release of the year, unless
They snuck that in, man. They had to
Yeah.
get that one set in before the end of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But then we've got 2024, not confirmed dates for a lot of these yet, but we have Platinum, which should be January, February. We've got another Allegiance set. We've got Fleer Ultra Midnight Suns, which is soon. That's imminent, actually. That could be January.
It's late right now.
What do you guys know about Platinum? What do we have going on there? What do we
Platinum.
expect?
Well, Grant did a big preview on
Okay.
Vibranium done right.
Yeah, on episode something.
Okay.
I can't remember what. It was very recent, and he showed most of the original art. So the way it's going to work, I think 1 to 100. I might have got these the wrong way around, but 100 of the cards is original art,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next 100 card base is production or comic art where they've taken from another source. So not original art for the cards. But the original art has got Sienkiewicz is back in there. Mike Allred is in there. Palumbo's got some pieces in there. Tom Taggart has got some pieces in there. It looks just phenomenal.
It looks to be troublesome.
Yeah.
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 But the volume of parallels they've got coming for that set is just
Vibranium falls in that category of when you were asking us before about ones that slipped past your radar and you wound up coming onto later. My biggest is Gems. There was a couple, those 07, 08-ish Marvel Masterpieces was a little there for me, but Gems was huge. Gorgeous cards, all these different the way they were built and designed back then, there wasn't a lot of that stuff. They jumped on that set, and Vibranium was kind of like that, where people caught onto it later. Were like, my God, some of these Vibranium cards are amazing, because that was 16 too, right?
Yeah, Vibranium was 2015, I think.
15, yeah. So
yeah.
15, 16 from production, there wasn't, they
Upper
hadn't
Deck went
messed
up a
around.
gear that year, and then of course Masterpieces, and then you're off to the races.
I haven't seen a lot of the Vibranium car. I mean, on ComC and stuff, I've seen scans or pictures, but I haven't seen a whole lot. I think I've got one that has Spider-Man 2099 and Superior Spider-Man. Worlds Collide. I think that's from Vibranium, but
yeah, it's one of these.
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole, or I just don't see a lot of people talking about Vibranium a whole lot.
It's one of the ones that went under the radar. I mean, Upper Deck we had. Oh, who was talking about it? I think it was Chris Carlin when he was still at Upper Deck. He's been at Collectors for over a year now, but he was talking about it when he came on, which is why they were using a lot of them for their replacement cards for stuff. They had years where retailers would just not buy the product, where they couldn't sell them to the retailers in the shops.
Wow.
Gems was a premium product. You forget that it was 5-6 cards a box, straight pack.
I don't forget because
well, you don't forget, no, but a lot of people might not be aware of it to start with. It was up there. Retro, they had stuff that they couldn't move for years. They just couldn't move.
Crazy.
So Vibranium.
Now there's all of us, and they don't have that problem anymore.
Exactly. But that's why a lot of their replacements for things like X-Men Metal and Spidey Metal were stuff from that era, because they just had stuff sat around in their warehouse that they hadn't been able to move, which is possibly one of the business reasons why they chose to launch EPAC. I mean, I'm speculating here, but EPAC gives them another distribution channel. Means they're not reliant on retailers buying stuff, in. So you can kind of understand the business reasons why they chose to go in certain directions, because now it's like not a problem. Retailers won't take it. We'll stick it on EPAC. we'll
Yeah.
cut down that split.
I should preference the reason I say that I didn't forget is because that's one of those high risk boxes, right? Like during
Yeah.
COVID, I spent $900 on a box and didn't get
You crash and burn.
anything. Yeah, it was one of the,
Yeah.
but that's part of the
The thing
hobby,
is,
right?
I know at some point I'm going to do that. Probably in the next year. Marvel Black Diamond. Now, if I was to buy a box, I'd probably spend $1,000 on it, somewhere thereabouts. And I did 3 boxes on EPAC. I've never opened any physically, and I just want to open a box of that physically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm very
That'd
aware
be
of the
fun.
fact that 500 of that would be for the experience, and 500 is probably what the cards,
God,
about
that
the
was
cost it would have been at the time, when it came out. So, um,
such a dangerous EPAC product when you think of the price and how quick you're done.
it was. I lucked out.
It was like blackjack more than black diamond.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I busted. I got a Howard Stark.
Oh,
It was bad. It was. I mean, there was a couple of nice ones in there, but I think the diamond cell was that black diamond.
Diamonds, the diamonds.
Yeah, I got a really cool Vision diamond cell that I liked,
Okay.
but yeah, I got Howard Stark. It hurt.
Yeah, no, I got I think I got a sketch on one of my boxes, and on one of my boxes I got a 6 diamond rocket raccoon,
okay.
which went a long way to
Wow.
what my goals at that time
Currently
were.
have a 6 diamond rocket or
No, it went very quickly. No, it went very quickly. But over the last year and change, I've been acquiring loads of these beautiful things.
Mm.
yeah,
So that's
that's part of
my
that
wheelhouse.
group I was telling you guys about last week. That
Oh, that's right.
the 350 or so units that are
No one's
all.
heard that. No one's heard that. So do you want to keep that amongst?
Oh yeah.
I mean, but they are stunning.
Forgot you were recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are stunning. Yeah. And that's the
Those
thing.
are-
You do forget you're recording. And because we were talking about this so for those who don't know, which is everyone other than us, actually, last week we did a kind of a mixer. It's fairly safe to say. It's like socializing, and then there's Keith over by the hors d'oeuvres over there, and there's Jason, who works in accounting, all this sort of stuff. It was one of those, like, you can imagine Rick Moranis inviting people to your party and saying, "Oh, put the coats on there." But we had a lot of kind of off the record chat, just getting to know each other, and Josh told us where a lot of the black diamond is buried, and it will forever stay within these walls. So what else we got? Sorry, we got Flair Ultra Wolverine is apparently lined up for later in the year as well. New Flair set, and then someone else. So I've got Grant sent me a list for when we did the episode, and it had some of this stuff on here. We have, so on the MCU side, She-Hulk has since been solicited.
Oh,
And so that's coming. We still have to come Moon Knight. We still have to come Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I think that's it there. And then we also have the EPAC exclusive Fleer throwback set that Grant kind of exclusively revealed when he came on. So yeah,
that sounded interesting.
it does sound interesting. So there's quite a lot coming up. Yeah, the first Fleer throwback set is going to be Marvel 1989.
Right.
Oh,
Now
yeah,
it
right at the thing.
was scheduled to be released mid to late November, but it is running late clearly. So there's probably other stuff that I'm forgetting that wasn't on that list or that you've seen sketch card stock for. What are you looking forward to? I mean, we've talked about Platinum quite a lot. My worry about Platinum is that whilst the art is great, much like it was for Fleer Ultra Avengers, the physical way they did the cards kind of took the edge off for me and made it really flat. So I wasn't massively happy with the final product because all those stripes kind of spoiled it for me.
Yep.
I'm worried that with having seen Allure in hand, I'm worried that kind of vibranium shiny effect might possibly take the edge off the original art. I don't know. Am I worrying unnecessarily there? What do you think?
well,
Will they be more-
vibranium's. Go ahead.
100 PT or 35?
I think 35 if it's that if that that type
It's
of
the
stock.
same as last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
I don't know. I mean, vibranium's a divisive set in the community, in my opinion. Yeah, because I think some people really loved it, and a lot of people were just like, "This is garbage." So I think the same thing could happen with it. But I mean, if I'm gonna hold him to his word, if he says vibranium done right, they know what
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
didn't like about it, and we'll see what comes out with it. Some of those cards are pretty cool. I like the base set. I do like that the original mirror base set. I think is cool. Some of the inserts I thought were a little wonky, and I just didn't like the way that they took away from the art. The bordering on the card was questionable on some things, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about Platinum. I like the idea of an original art set that's a little more comic booky. I mean, the art is amazing in it, but it's, a little more. I get a high-end 90s Marvel Universe vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah.
So and you got Bill Sienkiewicz doing art and some other comic book artists on, doing it. So I'm looking forward to at least maybe doing that 100 card of the original, the base,
Yeah.
would be worth it. I think.
Yeah, there's going to be some. I mean, there's some. They've got. I think it's 110 original pieces of art because there's the 100. Then there's 10. I think they're one per case variants. So there's a Bill Sienkiewicz Moon Knight that's in that variant pool that I've seen, and it's just like because it wasn't shown on the podcast. Grant showed me those separately, and it's
people are
just
gonna go
like,
crazy over
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be super limited. That's going to be a tough get. And I think they're going to have signed versions of them as well. So getting some of these artists signing on new works, like
For
Ian
me,
Guest
coming
is in
up 20 as soon as 22 goes on EPAC, it's going to be, I have to know what they're going to do with the achievements.
there.
And yeah, that I'm anticipating that. I was hoping it was going to hit before Christmas, but
February, Grant said. Most
yeah, I
likely.
think now March?
February. Well, yeah, he hasn't said. Well, we haven't spoken to them since then. But
End of February.
hoping Grant will come on again soon because I think the idea is that he'll maybe pop on every kind of 6 months. So maybe you'll all get to meet Grant soon. That'll be fun for you. You think he's with a Grant episode, and Grant, I mean this with love. You just hold on and strap in for the ride because when Grant goes. As I'm sure Mrs. Grant will attest to. Anyway, so I'm really looking forward. Sorry, that was really
Wow.
low. Sorry, apologies.
Well, Grant may not be back on the
Grant
show.
may not
now.
come back again after that. Yes,
Well,
he'll delete my cell. Flair, I'm super excited about Flair. There, I'm going to say it. Because I've seen, I know the artwork's been being worked on for quite a while, and I've seen one piece from it at least, and I was shown that almost a year ago. So I know it's been, it's coming. And Flair, they often go a little bit deeper on some of the characters as well, and some of the stylings. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Did anyone go has anyone gone into Flair 2019 that much? Have we got any fans of that one here?
I bought the Spider-Man base card.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still trying to figure out EPAC when that was still available, and I opted to combine cards of annual because that was cheaper than the flare. But no, I haven't gone super deep into the flare. Though the Power Blast are cool. I had a Spider-Man 2099 Power Blast.
Yeah.
They're great.
Those are pretty sweet. Those are pretty sweet.
I heard those totem cards were people like those.
Yeah, we were.
That's a joke.
Yeah, that's your favorite, right?
Hold on.
Sorry, too soon.
Someone had to lower the tone even further than I did just now. So,
I know. I
yeah,
opened a box of it and I really liked it. There was some cool art in there, and then they've got those little corner cards too, right? Some of the corner
patches.
cards,
pieces of
patches.
flair. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, pieces of flair.
Yeah.
I'm really excited next year for Midnight Suns, just because I want to see, another, cat supposed to be in it, but also the medallions,
Yeah,
kind of seeing what they
medallions.
do with the next version of the medallions.
Medallions about. Well, you say next versions. Medallions were in What If as well. Don't forget. Although they didn't have
Oh yeah,
parallels to them, it was
Yeah.
just a base, but it was on
I've
thin stock.
really enjoyed that set.
that's so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
I
So many
I've
different.
loved it.
The medallions in
You
that are
showed me
lovely
a
because they're
couple of
thin
those,
stock. They're brilliant.
some of the trimming and the border, how they made it like a Marvel masterpiece card, and I mean, and it looks right, and it gives you that same feel.
Yeah, the battle
You'd
spectrum.
you'd probably put the ones you have in your binder with your Marvel
I
masterpieces,
have.
and so
I have.
Yeah,
they killed it there. Yeah, I'm gonna
the
buy
19,
more. There's a LCS that's got a couple boxes still.
it's got the 1990 insert too, right? Like
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
what did Grant say? They didn't have the autos and stuff like that, so they had more money to do different things. So I thought
That's
that
right.
was really
You
really
know what?
cool.
I'm up for that. You know, I mean, it was basically no autos, no sketches, and that came from Marvel. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, let's put all that budget into doing some really cool shit,
Right.
and the whole set is elevated as a result. You don't end
Yeah.
up with what is happening with some of the MCU products at the moment, where they've got all the autos, but the rest of the set is pretty much as a
Mhm.
result, because that's where the money's gone. And I love that. I love that they've got those autos. Don't get me wrong, as someone who's a fan of the MCU autos, I love that they're in there. I love that there's a Tom Hiddleston and they paid the money to get Tom Hiddleston. But
Yeah.
tell that to the guy who's just pulled his sick film selling 3 boxes,
Right.
because he's chasing that Hiddleston auto. So, it's rough with the smooth, I guess. But
Yeah.
The lineup for those autos too, like what I heard Grant, not to bring him up for the ninth time, but he said that what they changed you still got the sticker autos, but they changed the framing of it so it doesn't really show the sticker as much. And I think I saw that on the Hawkeye uh card you just showed, is that you're not sure if it's from a glance of if it's an on card or it's a sticker, which makes it a little bit.
And when you do look at it, it's got a kind of an authentication kind of hollow within the sticker, so it actually looks pretty cool when you notice it. It's difficult to kind of see, but
Oh yeah.
That reminds me of something.
and Jason's off again.
Yes.
So,
This one, this is the body.
honestly, it's like Marley's ghost. He keeps reappearing. But I'm really I'm confused. I won't lie to you, Wesley. Or Wes. Do we know each other well? I'll call you Wes now. So,
It doesn't matter. Whatever, however you feel.
all right, Susan. So with Midnight Suns, I'm like, why is Black Cat on a medallion? I, did I miss? Because I went quite into Marvel Knights back in the day. I don't remember Black Cat being in there much.
Well, that maybe that's part my, because I didn't read the Midnight Suns
Yeah,
as
me
much,
either.
so I wasn't. It
Well,
was this
the
set.
original Midnight Suns crossover, Rise of Midnight Suns, and all the black covers. I've got them up there.
That's what I'm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that earlier stuff, yeah, I don't remember her being in that, and
Definitely not.
no.
Because the
So
second gen was like the re-release with the video game that came
that's right.
out.
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah,
And listen.
I didn't pick up on it.
All I'm saying, Upper Deck, if you're listening, can you give Black Cat a little bench time this year? And not, I mean, they didn't manage to shoehorn her into Fleer Ultra Avengers, which I'm happy about, quite frankly, because the last thing I need is to be chasing 22 parallels of that, or whatever it was. No, it's 22 parallels in beginnings, isn't it, or something crazy? But and beginnings is absolutely killing. In fact, I've pretty much stopped looking at Black Cat stuff in beginnings at the moment because it's just too much.
There's a lot.
It's just
There's a
too
lot.
much,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't have it in me to chase it. I'm chasing it for the sake of it, because you've put it set. I'm not chasing it because I love it. And
You know
that's
what's
an interesting
funny?
threshold.
Yeah.
You asked before about, what I'd been collecting this year, and part of the reason is I think I put a post about this. I did, Mark Safe from X-23 not being in a set. I've
Yeah,
been very lucky. There hasn't been
yeah.
much of her out there outside of the masterpieces, and I've been able to just kind of sit back.
Mm,
They're just coming at you.
yeah. So it's
But they're
kind of
getting me in 2024.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
And I
they'll
mean, you could fill in this time with a little commission piece, a little something, to meet the one you got, the Rittenhouse one you got.
yeah.
It,
We don't get Wesley and I don't get any bench time, unfortunately.
Mhm.
We're
well,
out there on the front lines.
it's kind of crazy how many parallels there are
Mm.
in sets now. I mean, I lost count now, but I was counting how many parallels there are for beginnings, and it's
It
ridiculous.
is up there. I mean, I
I
jokingly
mean,
said 22
and
just now, but I'm not far off it.
but yeah, because you've got two EPAC parallels right now, the
Yeah.
purple and then the white
Mhm.
rainbow.
Right.
And then I think they're doing pack wars, so who knows what
There'll be a Pack Wars version.
Oh,
there'll be a
yeah.
pack
There'll
wars
be
version.
plates for those as
You
well in
got
Pack Wars.
plates, and then depending on they've got the flipped FX, and not every character's in the flipped FX, but you
No,
got what, three or four
but you've got
options
four
with
versions
that.
of that. Yeah.
And then you've got there's a 90 card illustration board, so you may have a character in the
Yeah.
illustration board. So it's and
Black,
plus
blue, red,
plate plus
physical base.
plates
Yeah.
for base
Yeah.
and flipped FX, I think. So I mean,
Yeah.
What's the first appearance? I haven't noticed a difference. Is there a difference in the card with the first
Oh,
appearance?
it's in the background of the circle where the face appears in the bottom left. That is
you know that
literally it, and it says
that
first
Wow.
appearance on the back.
oh well, there's the flipped FX, which has like the old image and the new images in the circle, but then there's also a first appearance variant that looks just like the base, but the upper deck logo is silver and on the other side.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
There's some crazy
Those
odd
are
subtle
considered red
versions. I can't.
flashers and they're tiered.
Yeah, I
Um,
can't see. It's in my case. I can't get it out right now. But yeah, they're just and they're so subtle. I mean, listen, what I am pleased about, on a positive note, because positivity and all that, is that they're actually marking the cards now for what they are. Because you remember with Fleer Ultra X-Men, and to a degree with no, not Fleer Ultra X-Men, with X-Men Metal Universe and Spider-Man Metal Universe, everyone's there like going, what's the difference? You know, which parallel have I got? Especially with Spider-Man Metal Universe and the gold and the yellows.
oh
A
yeah.
lot of people missed out, didn't know they had pinks and stuff like that
Yeah,
from X-Men. Like you had to go back
yeah,
through your binder, like, oh, whoa, I
yeah.
missed that.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. So at least now they are putting it on the back. You know, they have listened to feedback, which is good. You know, so they are actually writing it on the
Well,
back of the card.
th-
Doesn't doesn't it doesn't make it okay, in my opinion, to have quite so many parallels. I think you can have too much of a good thing, but
right.
Right. It's
Oh,
getting to a 50-50 almost, where the overall content is 50% parallel.
yeah.
mhm.
What are you about to
Good
hit us with,
point.
Jason?
Oh, so we were talking about on-card autos, and
Yeah,
so Upper Deck has used on-card autos before. This is from Cloak and Dagger.
yeah.
I mean, most of the Upper Deck I have is sticker. But I just when I got this one a couple of years ago, I noticed that it was, on card, and
Mm.
I definitely believe in what you say. The on card, just something about it hits.
Oh, absolutely.
And they also there was a set, it wasn't Marvel, but a set that came out on EPAC this summer called Cosmic, which is
Mm.
kind of
Space.
space and stuff. It's a actually real nice set. They have astronaut autos, and those the scans, there's like a little kind of frame where they signed in it, and they looked like stickers, but when I got it, they're all on card and they're nice thick cards.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
I didn't know they
so
existed.
they're
Something else to spend my money on this year. Then.
but yeah, if
Yeah.
you're I mean if you're into NASA and space, I mean it's
Mm.
definitely a set worth
You have those in hand?
yeah, give me a second.
And he's off again.
There he goes.
So
That was the plan. No, but I saw that set on EPAC and I love that stuff. And I was interested. I looked at I just click through achievements every time and I go through to see what those are. And then based off that, like, am I
mm,
interested? And yeah, that universe set or cosmic or whatever it's called it was
yeah.
really nice. They had a bunch of good looking cards in there for what it was content wise.
Yeah, it does look good. The while Jason's digging that out of his binder, the James Bond sets that Rittenhouse have put out, 2 of them so far, are all on card, because that's the condition of the licensee. So I think it's what Eon Productions with Bond that has to be on card, and the same is true with X-Files. Well, that's a different licensee, but they're all on card as well.
Interesting.
So they can do it, but I think the thing is with X-Files and Bond is that that's all old stuff. They can print it all in advance.
Wow.
So I mean, what I'm saying is, you see, like on the scan, it looked like this was the
Yeah.
sticker,
Sure,
but
sure,
it's
sure.
That's just the
it's
space.
not.
Yeah.
Is that a thick
I'm
stock?
so used to
Yeah.
the sports card world doing the doing both styles for so long that
Mm,
I'm just used to seeing that hologram, cascaded behind it and
yeah.
just feeling okay. Yeah, it's an obstruction. It's not something you necessarily need to see, but it's
Yeah.
sports
I
cards.
don't mind either way, because I know that the sticker is still authentic, the
Yeah.
real deal. I like both of them. The hologram sticker's cool. I just the on card is a little
Is a real feel,
refreshing
yeah.
after seeing the sticker for a while.
I'm just mindful of time and the fact that Keith still hasn't had coffee, and it's going to be just after 11 a.m. where he is. So this is torture, quite frankly, for a man. Final kind of thoughts. I'm just curious to know what you want to see more of in terms of a type of card or a style of card, or what you want to see less of over the coming year from Upper Deck and new sets that are coming out. I mean, for me, I'd like to see slightly fewer parallels. I get it from Upper Deck's point of view, because they feel that it's adding value to the product, and I get it to a degree, but I think you can go too far into that. I think the balance is a little bit off for me. But what do I want to see more? Well, I like the metal cards, so that'd be pretty cool. But what else?
I'll tell you, printing processes with sublimation printing and plexi wood, some of the wooden cards, newer materials, newer printing processes, messing around. There's so many different options. And they've got, a lot of different metals to mess around with.
Yeah.
I've seen copper cards in the just a very few of those copper cards in the late 90s that were produced. There were also the 24 karat gold, Spider-Man, Hulk ones by.
There are 4 of them. Yeah.
And so mess around with stuff like that, because right now the only aluminum and iridium blanks out there that you can sublimation print on are you're either gold or you're stainless steel or brushed aluminum. But there's all sorts of you could even print a card on any sort of plexi or crystal, all sorts of different acrylic options.
Well, the plexi and acrylic, they're nailing that. I mean, some of the Eternal stuff on plexi and acrylic is just stunning. In fact, I've got some here. Let me just quickly pull these out, because I've not bought many Eternals at all, as you can see. No, where are they? Where is it?
Cards. I've seen a couple cards where one artist was making one that had the illuminated infinity stones that all lit up.
Look at the thickness of this acrylic card.
Yeah,
that's nice. Beautiful. It's
and the rounded edges, they grade out. They grade out so well. And I don't know if you guys have a preference on it, but it doesn't bother me.
No, those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, and
those
it
are
really works.
Those are really nice.
They're lovely. They're the Eternal Regard. They do signed ones as well, but obviously they're sticker.
See, and that's got a nice clean board. So like the Ambers, I think that they're a really cool card, but I hate the logo on it. I think that it came off very cheesy and corny.
Yeah.
And it just takes away from the card. Like I've had people tell me I've got the X, and I'm just like, I'm good. I just don't.
I'm all right.
Yeah. Can I peel it off? Can I peel it off? Maybe.
Film cells.
Oh. Yeah,
they don't
but you can
to be
see
thick.
Keith the potential there. So if they can sharpen that up,
exactly.
and maybe make it.
You gave me that. That was freaking cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's acetate. That's an acetate film cell.
Yeah.
No, that's a way to do film cell.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's stunning. They're really
because the whole card looks like a film cell, and then there's a miniature version inside of it.
And the lenticulars.
when you take
Super
those
thin.
acetate cards on display, if you like to do like LED holographic displays and stuff like that,
Yeah.
clear achievements, and those cards look phenomenal with
Those are
backlight.
real pretty, those lenticulars.
The
The
Unimind lenticulars from Eternals are just stunning.
Yeah,
so
that's
the thing with that I've seen with Eternals and Shang-Chi is that the foiling is nice and like the cards are, I mean, just the design is really nice. The only problem is I thought both of those films were kind of boring. And so it's
Oh no,
that's just me. That's me. That's my hot take.
Shang-Chi. Oof.
Yeah, that one surprised me. I really like that one too.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it was like
I
watching
like
Dragon. It was like Dragon Ball in real life. Like I thought it
see,
was. I thought it was super cool.
I liked the first half, like the scaffold fight scene and all that stuff where it had a little bit of intrigue. But then when they got to the magical world, I
Oh yeah,
kind
the
of
magical world thing killed it for me. I was just
lost
like,
it for
game on,
me.
game on.
I mean, it's got potential. I mean, I think it was fine. It's just
The fat little character, that CGI character that
The
followed them
Morris.
around. That's where it got a little off for
Yeah.
me. But overall, I liked that movie a lot.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I thought-
Awkwafina learning how to shoot a bow and arrow within 12 hours. That's the bit.
oh
Well,
yeah.
The bit that kind of. I mean, if you're going to get a suspension of disbelief, I'm sure you can start in a different place than that. I mean, let's
Right,
face it.
that's what I was thinking.
Right.
But I mean, with Eternals, the planet Earth is an egg for a new celestial being. It's like it's quite a bonkers concept, and they took 2 hours to get there. But I still love the film dearly. So
I need to give them both another try. I don't want to be like sound like I'm Scrooge, but just
it's all right.
it's-
Listen, they've laid some eggs out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll be another show for another day for sure.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
yes,
it's
they
just
definitely
it's
have.
hard. It's like the cards look pretty, but something that you weren't super big fan of, it's hard to like
Yeah.
pursue the card of, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Talking
they
about
both
eggs,
sets are
Secret
very
Invasion.
pretty though. Yeah.
That
So I
was
think we're going to
bad.
see. I think they are starting to play around with some different stuff, which is good. But I think when you have a set like What If, where you see what can happen when they've got the budget to try different stuff, that's impressive. So
It makes it such a fun rip.
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I need to get into What If. I loved the show and I bought a orange 90 MCU parallel for like $4 on ComC, and it was an Omega numbering.
Nice.
And it looks awesome. Yeah, it's not a big character. It was Doctor Strange's love interest was the character, but
Charlize Theron or whatever.
no from
No,
From
this
Mean
is What
Girl.
If, right?
yeah, What If
Oh,
Rachel
yeah,
McAdams.
she's the new she's going to be the new protagonist in the next Strange film. Charlize Theron. She's that.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
playing,
but this from the What If, it was the love interest from the first movie.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Rachel McAdams, Christine, whatever.
Christine.
Christine, that's it.
Yeah.
Well done. We got there. It's close enough. People will know what we mean.
Season 2 of What If coming soon. this week.
Yeah. Well, by
Yeah.
the time people hear this,
What
it'll
did
be
you guys think
broadcast.
about Secret Invasion? I struggled to get through it. It was
Yeah, I'm 2 episodes to go, and I'm struggling. I won't lie.
So that's they broke that movie or that show. That was supposed to be the Marvels. And somewhere along the way, production and things changed and hiatuses and strikes. It got broken up into its own show, besides the fact that we also had the Marvels. And
the comic stuff was still good though. It was.
I think that's what really held that one back from being great. The comic was amazing. That first
Yeah,
reveal.
I was psyched going into, and we're not trying. I mean, what finish them out, Ian. It's good. But you said you got 2 more left, right? But yeah. That's the comic had so much potential.
Yeah,
I
And I loved the spy aspect was great to start.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it ended. It got better toward the end, I guess.
Right. Okay.
So-
Spoilers. We'll stop
Yeah.
there.
Oh, that's not. But for me, like I love, like I said, Shield, Nick Fury,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
thought
so
we were finally going to get badass Sam Jackson, Nick Fury led deal, and
Yeah.
he was just a
like the spy
broken.
aspect of it was
He was
good.
a broken old man. I mean,
Huh.
it just it was not the guy that manipulated the Avengers in the first movie. Not manipulate, but he steered the ship in that first movie, and you're like, we're going to really see him, and
He
it
was like
just
the Grandmaster pulling it all together, pulling all the strings. Puppet
And
Master. There we go.
yeah, it just was disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to finish those last 2 episodes because
I will.
there's
I will.
something that happened Easter egg wise in that movie that might be tying into what's going on with the MCU right
Oh,
now.
okay, cool. Well, I
And
will look forward to that. I will look
yeah,
forward to that.
it's kind of a big thing for like Avengers 4 and something like that. So yeah, you gotta catch those. I don't want
Okay.
to.
All right. Good. All right, kids. This has been fun.
I agree.
And apart from the fact that Jason has been in and out of that room more times than
I'm sorry. I'll
no, that's quite it's hilarious. It was just hilarious to see you getting up in that Mary Jane lingerie each time,
Oh,
walking
I
over to a
know.
closet. It was just it's just
Oh,
like the people on the audio
actually,
version are like, what?
before we sign off, I've got one more costume change.
Okay, all right.
You ready? All right, hold on a second.
I'm not sure if I'm nervous. Am I nervous? I think I'm nervous. Oh, you're kidding
Yes,
me.
yes, yes. Beautiful.
That is brilliant. Oh, he shoots, he scores. He took off the lacy basque for those listening on audio. That's outstanding. Well done, sir. Well done. No pressure for the rest of you then for next week. I'm not sure who's going to dress up in what. So, like I said, it could be all of us week to week. It could be some of us week to week. Just depends on when everyone's around. When we're recording, and if we have guests and when they can do. So, but this is the crew. Thank you, gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure to fly with you today on the MCC Pod airwaves. If you dig the podcast, please give us a like and a follow and a subscribe at the MCC Pod on all social networks. YouTube, Marvel Card Collectors Podcast is the URL on YouTube, and leave us a review. Leave us a review on iTunes. Leave us a review on Spotify. Leave us a review on the back of the toilet door next time you go to your local ale house. I don't really care. For a good time, call Jason on 1-800 Dress Like Spidey.
Yes.
In the meantime,
Next week is Sexy Santa. So
next week is okay.
I missed that Marvel character.
Yes, so do I. Keith, I'm going to pick on one of you each week to sign us off without our customary sign off. I'm going to pick on Keith because, quite frankly, he's had no coffee. No, are you refusing, sir?
I am refusing.
You have a refusal. Okay, I'm going to pick on Wesley. Sign us off, sir, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Well, to us and the new crew, happy collecting.
Happy collecting.
Enjoy collecting, but
Enjoy
we'll go with it.
What I said.
Thanks for listening, folks. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share on YouTube or the podcast platform of your choice. The podcast can be found by Googling at the MCC Pod, which is also a handle on Facebook and Instagram. If you have an idea for podcast topics or want to be on the podcast, please reach out via social media or email us at themccpod@gmail.com. Our Facebook communities are MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. Creative design and logos for the podcast and groups are by artist Michael Munshaw. You can find him on Instagram at artofm2. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, collect your way and always be kind to others. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.
So I chose you guys over coffee this morning, and I'm not happy about it.